Welcome to the Rotary Club of Sebastopol Sunrise Remote Pajama Party, January 19th, 2022, for those of you who have lost track.
Yeah.
So let's see, hold on, let me get rid of the floating meeting controls.
Those are on your end.
Yep.
Those are on the cruise ship.
And I don't think that Bill Schlutius is in the room. So the last person who spoke, which is Nick Randall, gets to lead us in the pledge.
Amen. Everybody face your screen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Nick. And Joe, you got a song.
Good morning, all. As I look out our window, we still have fog here, but pretty soon we'll have sunshine. And you know what that means.
It's a beautiful morning.
Oh, no. Well,
You
it
are
is.
my sunshine.
But
A
I
little
thought you are
Motown.
my-
We're singing a little
thank you.
Motown today.
Here comes the sun.
You are my sunshine. How about walking on sunshine, Linda?
Yes, all five
All right.
verses.
Put up the
One
word.
verse.
You wait. The other night, dear, as I was sleeping, I dreamed I held
You in my arms.
when I awoke, dear, I was taken, and I hung my head and cried. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
That was beautiful, memorable.
Motley Crue.
One more time.
Yeah, please, no, we'll move on. And Tim Glom did a fabulous job. Did everybody get greeted?
Yes.
All right, good job, Jim.
Oliver
Thank you
didn't.
for that. He drank his tea early. And Michael Cook, have you got a thought for today, please?
I do. Yes. Here goes. If we do act in however small a way, we don't have to wait for some grand utopian future. The future is an infinite succession of presents, and to live now as we think human beings should live in defiance of all that is bad around us is itself a marvelous victory. So said Howard Zinn.
Good for Howard.
Here, here.
Thank you.
That was a lot. Thank you, Michael. And I can't see the participants, only I can see a list. Do we have any guests of the club today? Oh, I see Linda Lou. You changed your name to Linda Lou. Good idea. It sounds like everybody here are the folks who are supposed to be. Now, let's all be prepared just in case one of those Zoom bombers shows up that are all naked. And we will in unison say, really? That's pathetic.
Or
and
welcome
then,
to the club, one of the two.
Yeah. Well, can you give your contact information to Kathy? She wants to talk with you. I did have one join a Zoom that I was on, and we just laughed and ridiculed. Let's, Jerry, do you want to talk about our main page and how to make a payment?
Sure. So, in order to keep the club running, we have our regular ongoing expenses. And so we're not paying for breakfast right now, but we do have all the other expenses of administrative fees and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
so
we
the
just
easiest
on the Masonic, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
We just paid rent on the Masonic as
Yeah,
one.
$3,042 for the first 6 months of the year. So the easiest way to do that for our $10 Zoom meeting fee is to go to our club website, just sebsunriserotary.org. And at the top, you'll see that member payment green button that Jim put up there for us. Thank you, Jim. And you can pay your $10. You know, easy way, maybe once a month, kick in $40 there. I mean, hopefully we're not going to be meeting all of us like this for too much longer, but for right now. And if you want to donate to our foundation, then move on over to the next one over to the donate, and that's for foundation payments. But for Zoom payments, $10 member payment button. Thank you.
Lovely. And that donate button for foundation, that's for the club foundation. If you want to do something with Rotary Foundation or Polio Plus, I think you move over to the other ones. And that'll lead you on into where you can do that. So after last meeting, how many people jumped in and paid for that meeting?
Me,
Yeah.
Oh, well, let me just add, you know, another nice way, so we don't have to pay the merchant fees, is to send a check to our PO Box 2481.
that's the preferred method. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
that's up on
the method. Easy way to do it.
And Jerry, do you prefer, like, I have a lump sum in advance instead of every single week?
Whatever's easiest for you, but a lump sum is easy too.
And you can also prepay meetings.
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. Is, go ahead and put an amount in, and Jerry, you just run a credit when you do that, right?
Do me a favor, if you're going to prepay, for breakfast, that's okay. You know, I track those, but don't mix breakfast and Zoom payments and tell me to try to remember if you were on Zoom or in person. That's a little too much to try to track.
Got it.
Let's just try to keep it simple. $10 for Zoom, you can pay that anytime. And breakfast fees, if you want to prepay those, that's fine, but just let me know that money is specifically for breakfast meetings.
Very good.
Paid you
Thank you.
$40.
Yeah, this month is 40. There's 4 Wednesdays.
And it worked very easily.
Great. Well, let's all do that right after the meeting. That'll be a thrill. And I'm going to write a check. I think you make a good point, Jerry. We make a little more money if we do it that way. And the address is right up there on the website.
Yep.
By the way,
PJ.
sorry?
Hi, PJ. Hi, Lori. Hi, Kathleen.
Hi. And I just want to say, I don't like writing checks and sending them in the mail, so I'm not going to do that, but I'll increase the extra donation on the website.
I was thinking of that same thing, Patrick. How much is it, Jerry?
What's the fee on that, Jer?
Oh, about 2.5%.
Okay, so 3% more. Okay, fine. That's what I'll do, because I like the miles, baby.
Well, you are going places.
Totally.
You would.
Yeah, he's going to go about 10 feet with that extra nickel he's going to save.
I pay it forward big. That way I don't have to think about it.
Well, you know the saying, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step.
Thank you, Mr. Chinese.
Or a donation to our club.
Or 2%.
Or an Uber.
Okay,
There we go.
very good. It is time to mute all. How could we be there already? But let's do that.
David,
You have to
you're
unmute,
muted.
old buddy.
David,
David, you're.
There, I'm unmuted now. I needed to get
Only
out
person
where I
you
was
muted
at,
was
and
yourself.
I hide the meeting controls again, and there we go. Was that Linda sniping at me in the background? No, it was Kathy. So membership anniversaries. Gail Thomas, I don't think is with us, but I do talk with Gail from time to time. She is doing well, still working on recovery. But look at that. She has been with us since 2006. What a valuable person. Past president and lovely person, Gail Thomas. I will probably never recover from her attempts at rapping. Darlene, cool California. Tell us about it.
So, you know, small community right next to Auburn. Definitely now I've got to be careful with wild animals. There's deer every morning out in my yard, not the backyard, the front. That's the front. Even though it doesn't look like it, it is a single story house. But yeah, you know, everybody so far has been really friendly, and my neighbor's a highway patrolman. He does the air patrol, and I think his wife's an ER nurse, and yeah, getting to know it. I haven't done a whole lot because it's been, like I said before, packing and unpacking and trying to get settled and working. Unfortunately, work didn't let me take enough of a vacation.
So you're working remotely?
Yes.
I mean, you were working remotely anyway, but now you're really remote.
Yeah, well, I haven't been in the office since the first initial shutdown, so it's going on 2 years at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do have one.
You got out of the Marin commute. Yay.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
You do have one especially friendly neighbor.
I do.
Yeah, Nancy Wilson.
So Nancy lives down by gate 1. She's about 12, 15 minutes from me. The speed limit in here is 25 miles an hour. That's the only thing that's killing me right now. I don't think I've ever driven that slow. But her son lives here also with his wife, granddaughter, and in-laws. And I keep hearing from people that, you know, they've got a family member or a friend that's in Auburn or in, you know, the next town over. So it's you know, everything. I have everything right here. The little town is kind of like being in Pengrove in the old days. You know, there's the fire department, the post office, bank, grocery store. You know, it's got everything right here. And then if you need to go to Target, you just, you know, drive 10 minutes to Auburn.
Well, it's a bit farther than it used to be for me to commute over to see you, because I used to be able to cover that in 20 steps.
Yeah.
But yep, congratulations, lovely.
Thank you.
Glad you're still with us. And sorry to see you so far. Well, Marty, stop off on the way up, huh?
Is there snow, Darlene?
No. Yeah, we're just below the snow line. I mean, it has to be like a major storm to get snow. And even the last storm, it was only a couple inches in the backyard from what I saw from photos.
Jim, I saw this new life event and a door opening and went, what the heck? Are you with us, Jim? Good.
I'm with you.
Good. Tell us more.
I'm retired. It's retirement season. Real busy time of year. Yep. Happens every year right before April, retirement season. After the meeting, we're going to hot tub.
Sweet. You always live the good life, but this is even better.
20 years at Hewlett Packard, 15 years freelancing websites, 6 years at the JC. The variety of things that I've been exposed to, I think, is the highlight for me.
Wow. Well, congratulations. Just, I'm sure we're all thrilled for you, and some of us envious, but wow. Lovely. Congratulations. So glad for you. And then these were the troops that went out hiking, Dan and John. Hope you guys had a good time. And now we're going to have a special presentation from Dan Needham, Chair of our Community Services, who's going to give a recap of the first half of the year in Community Services. And it's going to be shorter. So Dan, do you want to share your screen, or do you want me to share what you sent me?
No, I've got a few updates, so let me share the screen.
Okay, I'm going to stop my share and you come rolling up.
Okay, let's do this here. People see that?
Yes, sir.
Yay, okay. So we have done a whole lot in the first months of this year. So we calling this Doing Kindness Nearby. I'm going to talk about these different topics and thank some people and update the club and some of the things. But another title I thought of is Doing a Whole Lot with a Little. So I first want to start out by saying Jim Glom is not only a great greeter, he is our leader in our efforts with helping the homeless in so many different ways. The work that goes on that we do part of and contribute to, both monetarily and effort-wise, at the Christian church, they give out 700 lunches, 240 breakfasts, and 40 dinners at the Sebastopol Christian Church each month. And I know Jim makes at least 160 of those lunches himself. So he does some amazing work with that. I also want to thank Dewey Watson and Michael Fells, who work with our backpack food program that's over by Parkside School. And each week, about 36 families receive backpacks or boxes of food to tide them through the weekend if they're students, or through the week, if there are families that drive up and get food. And here's a little example of doing a lot with a little. For the backpack food program, that we contribute about $2,000 out of our club coffers. That's monies that we have put in or that we have fundraised about, which fundraising has been difficult this year. But that's less than $2 per family per week to get a large amount of food. That part of that is because the food bank provides some of that. So it's a partial contribution, but it's a whole lot of good for a whole little bit of money. So that's just awesome. Not only don't we not want people to be hungry, we don't want people to be cold and wet. And Jim led an effort. So after that, those large storms, when all the people that were out there that were living rough got rained out and all their belongings were soaked, we actually, some Rotarians and some friends of Rotarians wrote checks, and we raised some money and were able to provide tents, sleeping bags, tarps, and dry socks to a lot of the folks that were adversely affected by those initial heavy winter storms. And again, Jim led that effort, and we continue to rely upon him, and he continues to be a leader in this field. So thanks, Jim. So also got to thank Michael McLaughlin and all of his leadership effort for getting our holiday food boxes out for about 1,200 people. Usually we'd have our sit-down dinner. We can't do that during COVID, but for the last 2 years, we've been able to send really nice boxes of food with chicken and stuffing and vegetables and a pie to people that don't have enough food for the holidays. And that was a very fun event. And every single kid received a bag of toys, and the smiles on those kids' faces were just priceless. I want to thank Brian Purcell and family for supporting a lot of those boxes and distributing them. Bill Sauber for getting all the heavy equipment and moving everything, forklifts. Our backs definitely could not have done it. And John Belletto for donating all of that equipment. Kathy Rogers for doing all the volunteer organizing, taking pictures. Judy Rice for doing leading effort with handwritten cards holiday cards that went in each box that acknowledged the value of each of the people in our community that received those. And of course, Ken Silvera at Fiesta Market, Center for the Arts, and Corbell for donating the boxes, and many, many others. Many of you volunteered or donated to the effort and bought boxes. And it was great to see our newest members, Linda and Anna, there helping out. That was a lot of fun. So hopefully you got a taste of the great things that we can do with a little to help our people nearby in the community.
Dan?
Yes.
I'd also like to mention that Mark Olson, a member we don't see a lot of because he's awfully busy, also made a major contribution to the effort this year. He bought the pies and the rolls, totaling over $1,000.
Very generous. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know about that. And that's awesome. That chokes me up too. So every month, we also go to the food bank and pack food that goes in, gets distributed. There's lots of different distribution sites every week or the following days from our shift. So we do this jointly lately with the Rotary Club of Sebastopol. Sometimes there's other Rotarians there or friends of Rotarians, and we make new friends there too. A week from today is your next opportunity to do it. You have to be signed up on their website because they have to do food security, and there's still COVID protocols and things these days. But we'll continue to doing that, and that we get the group that's there get thousands of pounds of food packed and ready for distribution the next day. So, and it's a lot of fun.
And Dan, as an example, Interac is going to start doing this too, or they're looking at doing it, using us as an example. So
super, that's fantastic. And so thanks to all of you who are doing, and I invite all the rest of you to help out as well. So we also do things like improving our parks. This was our district grant project this year, where we put in some money. The Rotary Club of Sebastopol put in some money, and the district matches those funds. We added a ramp and for people and equipment to the stage. We improved the stage with some new stairs and cleaned it up, the skirting on it and things. That was a work day. And then we also replaced the border around the playground equipment. I'll show some pictures of that too. But this was, again, a way for us to contribute from our coffers, $2,400, and similar amount from Rotary Club of Sebastopol. The district matches all of that. And even a community member, we had a little cost overrun because of the increase in lumber prices. A community member said, no, you're doing good things, and they wrote a check too. Again, doing a lot with a little. And here's some pictures of the border around the playground equipment that we put in. 16-foot long, 8-inch by 8-inch redwood beams. And the average age of the volunteer construction crew that day was about 73 years old. So that was a lot of fun and very inspiring. We also keep our environment clean. Here's the group that was cleaning up the high school road most recently between the high school and Occidental Road. There's a lot of interesting stuff. We filled up that Boleto pickup truck, heaping with trash of all sorts. And the Interact Club showed up. We had Aaliyah Coate from the Noon Club there as well. And we do this to honor our friend and Rotarian Louis Hopfer. We've adopted the road in his name. And thanks again to Bill Sauber for all that arranging. And again, John for letting us use the equipment and disposing of the trash as well. So we also do things to strengthen our community. We are part of the Sebastopol Service and Action Coalition. And last July, we manned a booth to advertise our working together and the efforts that each of those groups are doing in the community. And we had sign-up sheets for volunteers for different things as well. We also, at an adjacent table, we had an event for kids with stickers and stamps to make their own kind of passport books. And we got lots of families coming up and talking to us about what Rotary did as well. And so that was at Peacetown in the Barlow last July. So we're going to continue the programs that are featured here. We've got a hands-on one coming up. So similar to the cleanup day on High School Road, we're going to do some cleanup in cooperation with Interact and the Noon Club on the post office. We're going to pick that date once we see a downhill slope on the COVID statistics for Sonoma County. There was just recently the first workday on helping out people, which is a multi-organization effort, kind of somewhat like the Rebuilding Together Day we did for yard and house projects for people that need a hand with that. We deferred our participation in it due to the COVID surge, but there is going to be a next workday on April 9th. Al Lustig is our leader in these efforts. Thanks, Al. Really appreciate that. And sounded like the folks that were out there got some work done and did it in a nice physically distanced way. But I think deferring, a lot of people deferred their effort due to the COVID surge on a few different things. So there's plenty of opportunities to participate in many other what I call kindness programs through our organization, through the other organizations in the coalition. And your ideas, come up with them too, and we can do help in the community as well. I really want to have a big thanks to Michael McLaughlin. I feel like he was such a leader in community service for so long and the director of this branch of service. And I feel like a lot of this, I'm writing on his coattails. So I really want to thank Michael. And you might have noticed in about every one of those pictures, he's there. So he is still so actively involved in every project. Very much appreciate what Michael does. And I want to thank every one of you who has shared your time, your effort, your expertise, your financial resources, especially in this time of challenging fundraising, to help others in our local and world communities. You'll hear about some of the other efforts in subsequent programs. So thanks to all of you, and back to you, David.
Thank you, Dan. If you can stop your share. Okay. Let's get ourselves back up here and share. Looks like that worked. How about that for a new record? So Dan, your leadership is inspiring. The other person I know that was at every single one of those events is you. And I think we're all really, really grateful and impressed with yourself and with how you make us stronger and better. So if you got gratitude, please do share it by coming up and making a contribution to the Rotary Foundation or our club foundation. That is what gives us strength. And of course, commitments to acts of kindness are so helpful. I'm going to send this out, but Kathy, you probably wanted to make mention that we're going to have you're going to have a first Friday for anybody who feels safe at Hop Monk. Is that right?
I'm going to check with Hot Monk first. If that's not right, then we'll just pick a different brewery, but yes.
Got it. Hopefully that'll be out of doors, you think? Well, maybe.
Yes, that's why we're choosing. Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Good. All right. And the others, I'll send these out in an email blast in the interest of time. So a couple of announcements, and hopefully our speakers are in the house. One is that sad news that Gus's daughter, Lori, who many of you know has had a long-term bout with cancer, finally did succumb. Kathy and Michael Fells are putting together a card and a floral arrangement, yeah, that's going to be very nice, and contribute that on our behalf. But if you want to send a note or make a connection with Gus, he's been so involved in helping her. It's been a long time. And then another personal note, I got so many 2.5, 3 years ago when I got cancer and went through all of that stuff and went bald a couple of times and did all of those things. I got a lot of attention and praise and kudos and things like that. And, you know, once I kind of recovered from that, I felt like I wasn't getting much attention. So I decided I'd be Rotary president. And that's been pretty good, but you don't get the respect. So what I've decided to do is add 2 things and go in tomorrow and get surgery for what may be a new cancer. I'm going to do that tomorrow. So I'll be looking like Frankenstein over the next couple of weeks. It's going to be hopefully a modest surgery. Interestingly, they couldn't tell if it was cancer or not. So they said, well, let's just go in and jerk it out. You saw that little swelling that was on that salivary gland. I had it checked out a couple of times, and this time it showed up with color. And when you get color, they got to take it out. So there we go. We're ready for our speakers.
Okay. So we have 3 people with us this morning. Argus Brent, Yesenia Garcia, Yesenia, I hope I pronounced that correctly, and Sunny Galbraith. The first 2, they're part of a group at Orchard View School that is concerned with environmental issues, and they came together in a club they call the Green Team. And as one of their projects, they have formed a series of presentations on Senate Bill 1383, the law that is intended to reduce global warming caused by food waste. And so Argus is the youth representative on the City of Sebastopol Zero Waste Committee. And also, Jasenia will be presenting with us this morning. And then Sunny Galbraith is also with us, and she is the faculty advisor. So with that, I will say, take it away.
Okay, thank you. I think I'll just be real quick, and then I'll give it to Argus and Jasenia. Thank you for introducing me. And this presentation was originally developed last spring for the Santa Rosa Junior College Climate Action Night, which is a group of high school students and college students that highlight legislation related to climate and local issues. And John Greck is on here. I see him. He did Climate Action Night with us last year. Let's talk. We're doing it again this year. So yes, and then Argus did a great job updating it to make it a community presentation. So I think Argus and Jasenia, I'll let you guys take it away. Argus, maybe just say, well, I guess our presentation really says it all, huh? Should I share? Do you guys want me to share the actual slideshow?
Yes, please.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to just get that one set up here. I'll share my screen.
Argus, you're on mute.
And do. Okay.
Well, hi, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting us to present about this new law to reduce waste that is going into effect this January. We are putting a link to the slideshow in the chat so that you can get access to all these slides. I'm Jasenia Garcia. I'm a senior at Orchard View this year. I also work as the youth representative on the Climate Action Committee for the City of Sebastopol. Argus, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yep, I'm Argus Brent. I am a sophomore at Orchard View School, and I am also the youth representative for the Sebastopol Zero Waste Committee.
Okay.
So this bill, it mandates by 2025 that we reduce the amount of organic material disposed in landfills by 75% from the 2014 level. And by 2025, we want no less than 20% of edible food currently disposed must also be recovered for human consumption. So organic materials are yard debris, food scraps, wet or soiled paper, cardboard, for example, basically anything that you can put in the compost. So this bill expands on bills that are previously passed, namely AB 314 and AB 1826, in order to better mandate our recycling practices. Businesses, schools, and residents have to sign up for compost collection services, and fines may be issued for non-compliance, but this is only for multiple infractions. Some businesses will also be asked to donate excess food waste to those in need, or just food. Who's impacted by this? So SB 1383 applies to almost everybody in our community, from residents, commercial entities, non-local entities, to education agencies.
Oh, this is a fun video my son made to show the science of why we don't want to put food scraps or yard scraps in the compost. I mean, sorry, in the garbage.
When food scraps, paper products, and yard debris are buried in landfill, they release methane, a super powerful greenhouse gas, which traps 72 times more heat than carbon dioxide.
Oops,
when
sorry.
food scraps, paper
We're
products,
watching it again.
and yard debris
How
are
do I get
buried
out of
in
here?
landfill, they
Okay, sorry.
And these are the penalties for non-compliance. The priority in this is to assist businesses, educational agencies, and other commercial entities to come into compliance since they produce such large amounts of food. Penalties will only be issued for recurring violations, though. And then what happens when food or other organics, such as yard clippings, are sent to landfills? Well, the food and organic debris rots without oxygen in an anaerobic condition, and this releases methane, which is 23 times more powerful than CO2 and causes global warming. And the nutrients from the food and the organic debris will never return to our soil to, engage in natural processes as they should. And this is why composting and recycling is so important, because it reduces and prevents the methane emissions that result from organic materials rotting in the landfills. It also allows the nutrients to return to the soil, enriching it and resulting in higher yields of agricultural crops. So the carbon cycle is currently out of balance. Climate change is a problem of carbon levels being out of balance. Currently, there's too much carbon in the form of carbon dioxide and methane in the atmosphere compared to what is sequestered in the ocean, living things, and soil and rocks. When organic materials such as food and yard debris end up in the landfill, they decompose anaerobically without oxygen and produce greenhouse gases, both methane and carbon dioxide. Landfill gas emissions are made up of about 50% methane and 50% carbon dioxide. Composting these organic materials significantly reduces greenhouse gas production. Aerobic compost gas emissions are mainly CO2. Furthermore, when finished compost is applied on land, greenhouse gases are pulled from the atmosphere and into the soil. So here are some statistics that SB 1383 will hopefully accomplish. Methane is 80 times more potent than CO2 over a 20-year period. In 2018, only 4% of wasted food was composted. And in 2018, over 35 million tons of food waste went to landfills. SB 1383 is not just a solution to our overflowing landfills, it will also help global warming. With SB 1383 goals, by 2025, we will have reduced and removed a lot of greenhouse gases from our atmosphere. And here are some equivalents. Argus, please take it away.
All right, so we have a little quiz, a mini quiz. So as I'm sure most of you know, we have a 3-bin sorting system in California: the green bin, the gray bin, and the blue bin. So we have a little mini quiz to test your knowledge on that.
And let's see, first we'll go over Argus is going to go over the rules of what goes where in our home and business bins. And then when we do the quiz, you guys can type your answers in the chat.
Okay, so the compost bin or the green bin, it accepts food scraps, plant materials, soiled paper and cardboard, for example, like a used pizza box. You want to make sure that there doesn't have any shiny coating on it that needs to be disposed in a different bin. Wood scraps and hair for feathers. No compostable plastics can be put in the green bin. We don't have the resources to actually compost those plastics, so those will have to go into recycling.
In garbage, actually.
Garbage. Recycling, the blue bin. In recycling, you can put metal, paper, and cardboard. They have to be unsoiled. Obviously, soiled paper and cardboard go in the compost. Plastic containers, but no plastic bags, and glass. An important side note, the recyclables must be empty and dry. So for example, doing things like washing out your used milk jugs, they can't be recycled if they are soiled in any way, and they cannot be in a bag. So you just want to make sure that any receptacle that you use to hold your recycling, you want to make sure that the bag does not go into the recycling. All right, garbage or the gray bin. The garbage bin accepts broken glass and dishware, wrappers and chip bags, styrofoam, straws, plastic bags and utensils, and coffee cups. Obviously, put compostables in the green bin. And now it's time for the quiz. There are plenty of tricky items for you to be quizzed on.
Okay, so does that sound like a good idea, Argus, to have people type their answers in the chat?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, so where do paper towels go? I think more specifically, where do wet paper towels go? Yes, it was compost, Charlie. So any paper towels that are wet or food soiled, they would go in the compost. And that's usually where you put paper towels, since unused paper towels shouldn't really be going into the waste. Where do fluorescent light bulbs and batteries go? And you were all correct. They don't go in the garbage. They need to be properly disposed of. So they must be taken directly to the household hazardous waste facility in the central landfill, or you can also drop it off at other locations like Sebastopol Hardware and the Lowe's. You can also put your batteries in a plastic bag, and if taped closed, you can leave it on top of your recycling cart, and ecology will pick it up and dispose of it properly. I'm not sure about aseptic packaging. I haven't heard that term before, but
oh, that
it might
is,
be okay.
yeah, aseptic packaging is like juice boxes and soy milk, kind of in boxes. That goes in recycling. That can go in recycling. Okay. Bones.
Yes, where do bones go? These can go in the compost. Where does cheese and meat go? Those also go in the compost, correct? Usually we wouldn't put cheese, meat, or bones in our backyard compost, any like side projects. But commercial facilities can actually compost these organic materials, since they can bring their facilities up to high enough temperatures to actually compost them. So where do plastic clamshells go?
Recycling.
Those would actually go in, those would go in the recycling. Obviously, you want to make sure that they are clean and dry. It's okay if they have a light residue, but just try to wash it out. So where do plastic lids and straws go? They go in the garbage. They're too small and they fall through the holes in the recycling conveyor belt, so that means they need to be disposed of in the landfill. Where do used pizza boxes go?
Garbage.
They would go in the compost. Since the oils from the food make the cardboard unsuitable for recycling, you would need to put it in your green bin. So where does, quote, full plastic go?
Recycling.
Yeah, Linda, we should. They actually go in the garbage, so it's kind of the worst of the worst. They take too long to break down, and they're not accepted by commercial compost facilities in our area, and they're not recyclable, so they must go in your gray bin. Where does wax cardboard go?
Recycling.
And yeah, they would go in the garbage. That's a bit of a tricky one, and most people don't work with wax cardboard every day, but the wax kind of makes it difficult to recycle, so it must go in the your gray bin. Where do wooden chopsticks go?
Compost.
They would go in the compost. They count as wood scraps. So yeah. Where do paper coffee cups go?
Compost.
These would actually go in the garbage due to their shiny plastic lining to make sure that, obviously any coffee doesn't seep out from the cup. Even if they say compostable, they're not accepted by our compost facilities, so they will have to go in the garbage. Where does shredded paper go? It can actually go in the compost. You might think recycling, but when paper is shredded, the fibers become shorter and they cannot be composted correctly, recycled correctly. I mean, also the tiny shreds cannot make it through the recycling sorting process, which is all the more reason to compost your shredded paper. Just a important note: Ecology asks that you put your shredded paper in a paper bag and just simply in the compost bin. So you want to make sure that you have that paper bag ready to go. A pandemic bonus question. Where do gloves and masks go? They would both go in the trash. Most of them are derived from plastics, so they can't be recycled properly. And we finished the quiz. All of you did really great. Seems like you're very well educated on the waste disposal process, which is, sounds like a boring topic, but it's very important to be able to properly dispose of everything to, save the environment. And we do have some helpful links. There are sorting guides from ecology. Unfortunately, you can't click on the links, but those are always very helpful, a very helpful resource to consult when you don't know where something goes. There are a few more resources that we have. So there are there's a resource from Zero Waste Sonoma. It helps prevent at-home food waste. Yeah, just a few tips from Zero Waste Sonoma. There are local organizations that accept food donations from individuals and businesses, so we don't have to always, put any food that we can't use in the compost. So, and in addition, there are actually gleaning groups. I'm sure at least some of you may have, for example, apple trees or any fruit trees that produce too much fruit and you can't eat them. So there are actually gleaning groups that can come and take any excess fruit and obviously give it to those in need. You can also donate food to feed animals. And there are tips and tricks for composting at home. And then there is the Sonoma County Food Recovery Coalition, which is, a prominent food donation organization in this county. And it also provides plenty of volunteer opportunities for anyone interested. And yeah, so just for these actions with your community if need be.
And here's some more amazing links from Zero Waste Sonoma and Recology. The brochure has all the basics that we presented about today, and the second link is a little bit more detailed and has additional resources. If you have any questions that we can't answer, please contact Zero Waste Sonoma. They have amazing experts, especially on things broader than this topic, like household hazardous waste and how to dispose of that. We are putting the link in this presentation in the chat, so you can check out all this amazing information. SB 1383 will have a big environmental impact by sequestering carbon, reducing methane outputs, reducing waste, and conserving energy. We also wanted to briefly share about a local waste reduction ordinance. Sebastopol's disposable and service wasteware and polystyrene foam ban ordinance was passed in 2019. It bans polystyrene foam and requires that food vendors who use disposable takeout food serviceware only use recyclable or compostable products, with the exception of coffee cups and soup containers, for which there's currently no compostable or recyclable alternative. It also requires that businesses only give out lids, cutlery to go packages, and paper straws on request. Zero Waste Sonoma, the county management waste agency, wrote the model ordinance that ours is based on. Since we passed it in 2019, all other Sonoma County cities and the county have passed similar ordinances. Roanoke Park is currently in the process of doing so. And here's a link to the model ordinance from Zero Waste Sonoma that all cities in the county have based their ordinances on. Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate the opportunity to share this important information with our community. Do you guys have any questions, comments?
I have a question. I hate to be a complainer, but it seems to me that I guess the real question is there any technological effort being put forward so that dirty stuff can be recycled and composted? I guess that's the question.
So are you asking about like
containers and everything that need to be clean, that can't have any food waste or,
My understanding is that the reason at this point that they need to be clean is that because we have a mixed recycling system, and when we put things that already have food in them in the mixed recycling system, it gets the paper really dirty, and then paper, when it gets wet or dirty, cannot be recycled. So it's contaminating other paper basically and cardboard, so it can't be recycled. So technically those things technologically can be recycled, but because it contaminates other items, that's why they ask you to put things that they don't have to be like spotless. It just has to be, can have a little dried residue. It just can't be something that's going to get the paper and the cardboard in the mixed bin wet or dirty.
What about laundry detergent plastic bottles? The plastic jugs. I always put them in the recycle with the plastics, but I always wonder, Is it being
Clean
recycled?
enough. Yeah.
Yeah, those get recycled. There actually has, in the past 5 years, been a big increase in domestic markets for especially plastics number 1s and 2. It used to get sent to China, and now they're actually staying domestic and being recycled. And there's a big market for it, so that's a positive development. But yeah, hard, so rigid plastic, you can put that in recycling.
Thanks.
On the plastic bags that you get, like at the produce section of the market, there used to be, you could bring them back and dispose of them at the grocery stores, but those collections have disappeared. Is there a way to dispose of those single-use bags? Don't get them.
That is a really good question. I know you can't, I know pre-pandemic, and maybe I have to try, I've been collecting them, they're all in my basement. Whole Foods would take them at like the customer service, because they do still recycle their in-house, what's called film plastic in the back. But I guess this customer receptacles, people were abusing them, and they were just getting really full of garbage.
Safeway has moved theirs inside by the customer service counter.
Oh, thank you. That is such helpful information, Jerry. So Safeway. And so they need to be cleaned and then bagged together. Great
But
question.
most of the employees don't know about it. So just be advised, you have to know exactly where you're going. I walked in circles for a while.
You know, Jerry and John, I'm gonna add that to one of our slides. That's so helpful.
Is there a list somewhere that I can put next to my garbage containers that lets me know which one goes where?
Great question. Yes, there are sorting guides on the Recology website, and that was one of the links on our slides. Argus, could you put the link to the slideshow in the chat?
Yeah, definitely. Just looking through. There are a lot of links.
Maybe Argus, you could look up what slide number. One of the slides has, I think we put it on a couple slides, linked to Recology sorting guides, and so you can print them out at home. They might have them at City Hall. We could get some delivered to say Recology is very generous with giving out signs and stickers and whatnot.
Honey, what does Recology do when they take the green can and all that stuff? Is there like a pile where it all goes? And how is it processed? I mean, I'm guessing it still gives off some methane gas, or how does that process actually work?
Good question. So it used to say, oh, you want to go? You want to take that, Argus?
Yeah, sure. So I think the most important way to distinguish putting, your organics into the landfill and your organics in the compost is the way they're digested by the bacteria and various composters. No matter where you put it, it will be broken down. But in the compost, the digesters won't give off methane gas. I think they're called anaerobic digesters. And in the landfill, where it wouldn't be properly composted, and it's not really controlled, then pretty much any bacteria or composter can come in and give off methane gas. So that's the important distinction. I don't know too much about Recology's composting process, but there certainly are some distinctions, and the major one is how the composters work to they don't produce methane, basically.
Yeah, and where our waste goes, it used to stay local when Sonoma Compost was open. Now they're, depending on where in the county it gets picked up, it's either going to a facility. There's Novato, Ukiah, Napa, so just outside some of the commercial like food waste pickups, they go down to a facility in Richmond, and they're all big commercial compost facilities. And because the process is like Argus said, aerobic, means involves oxygen, that it does not give off methane. When it gets buried in the landfill, there's no oxygen, so that's when it gives off the methane.
The process that they actually use is the compostable material is laid out in windrows, and they have giant machines that straddle those windrows and go in and turn it over and add air to it and lays it out behind it. And those machines just go back and forth. The old way, they used to have them in windrows and you'd use a loader and pick it up and dump it. We sold a lot of machines that actually did that in dairies. And there are still some that continue to use that to this day. But it's the big recycling machines or composting machines that do that now.
Yes, good explanation.
We're at the end of the official time of our meeting. If folk would like to stay afterwards and maybe chat about this, and if anybody wants to stay and socialize for a little bit, I'll keep the meeting open. Thank you, you three, for speaking with us today. This is very inspiring, very informative, and glad to have those links and all of the information. Really appreciate your volunteering and joining us today. And we're going to inscribe a book that we are donating to a local school that is oriented towards diversity, equity, and inclusion in each of your names. So each of your names will be there. Go check your book out someday. It's going to be at either Brookhaven School or Sebastopol or Pinecrest. So thank you again very much. You've been wonderful. And if you don't mind staying on, you may have to move on, but thank you. Really delighted to have you with us.
And if we do,
Thank you so much.
we do these presentations where we have a rotating cast of amazing students that do these presentations. So if any of you are part of other groups and would like the same presentation, contact Argus or myself.
Lovely. And that's good news. And this was my second time around and I still got questions wrong. Oh boy. So here we go. Judy Rice. Well, looks like the joke of the day might be me. Sorry for my lame attempt at humor, but there we go. Let's move forward to Joe, and Joe, send us out with a song, if you would, please.
Okay, everybody, here we go. Happy trails to you till we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling on them. Happy trails to you till we meet again.
See you next time.